Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just finished talking all about the top 5 quarterbacks that need to perform this season if they want to continue to be a NFL quarterback in the future. Number 5 was Geno Smith. Number 4 was Russell Wilson. Number 3 was Tua. Number 2 was Daniel Jones. And number 1 was Bryce Young. We also talked about the contract situation, the contract dispute between Jordan Love and the Packers. Jordan Love says he's not going to practice until he has a new contract. So go back and listen to my thoughts on all of that. In this segment, we are going to talk a little bit about the U.S. men's basketball team. They've had a couple of close calls in a row now. Even if you go back to the game against Serbia, they started off slow before they eventually came back and dominated. We'll talk about what this means, the South Sudan game, this Germany game that just finished as we were finishing up our last segment, which they were able to pull through with a victory. We'll talk all about that and more in just a second, but before we get into that, remember that if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate all of you guys for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Monday afternoon. But like I was saying, we are going to get into some basketball talk. I guess not NBA talk. Team USA, international basketball talk. Obviously Team USA is stacked, right? There's no other way to put it. This team has an argument to be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of basketball. And when you watch them click on all gears, right? When you watch them play their best basketball, you say, hey, this is the best basketball team on the planet. And we saw it a little bit against South Sudan, right? For those who are unaware, the U.S. is doing pre-Olympic trial runs, just showdown games. They played the 4th and the 5th one. Over the weekend, they played South Sudan, and they just finished up their 5th one against Spain. Both of those games did not go the way that you want to for Team USA. And we've known for a while that the world is starting to catch up to the U.S. in basketball. That's why this team was assembled. That's why LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, all these guys, Jason Tatum. I could list this whole team, and I still really couldn't put it into, how great this team is, just full of individual greatness, right? That's the reason that they formed the Avengers of basketball teams, right? They wanted to prove, hey, we still run the world, right? Spain just won the FIBA championship. Germany, I apologize, is who they just played and who just won the FIBA championship, right? Germany is a very good team, right? They have NBA talent. They just took the U.S. to that's the second game in a row. I want to focus more on the South Sudan game, though. They ended up pulling it out at the end. It might have been, if they lost, the biggest upset in the history of basketball, right? South Sudan were 43-point dogs. If you want to get to the betting side of things, the U.S. was supposed to win by 43 points. That's what Vegas said. That's what the bookmakers said. That's what the odd makers said. 43 points. They end up squeaking by 1 point. And a lot of that you can say, hey, it was a lucky shooting night. South Sudan shot the lights out. They shot the roof off of the building. They could not miss, seemingly, in that first half, South Sudan. They were that good. The U.S. was down 14 at halftime, 44-58 to South Sudan, a team that has no starting NBA players, a couple of G League guys, but that's about it. This is a country that, as they were saying in the post game, they were talking about this game, how much it means to them. Right, basketball is huge in the U.S., but it's growing outside. South Sudan is a country that it's a new country, and it's a country that's still dealing with the effects of its civil war when was formed in the last couple years. This is a huge moment for them. Sports are huge moments for countries, and beating the best, maybe the best basketball team ever assembled, would have been insane. They took them to the buzzer. Like I said, they were dominating the entire first half. Now the U.S. came back, took a lead in the fourth quarter, but credit to South Sudan, they didn't just give up and come and fade away. They stayed in. They stayed in this game. They continued to fight. They had a lead in this game with 20 seconds left, right? JT Thor hits a corner three-pointer in transition with 20 seconds left to give a 1-point lead to South Sudan, 100-99, before LeBron James does his thing, gets a layup, which is another thing. We got to see, there were lots of questions, right? Who is the guy on Team USA? Anthony Edwards says, I'm the number one option. With a team as stacked as this, where you have 10 number one options throughout the NBA, who is going to be the guy they turn to when they need a big shot, when they need to make the game winner? And at least in the South Sudan game, the answer was LeBron James, right? And that's really cool to see, right? We talk about LeBron a lot, right? Because LeBron James is LeBron James. He's a megastar. He's a world superstar. He's a celebrity, right? He's not just an athlete. He's a celebrity, right? And that's the kind of status LeBron James has because of how good he's been for how long. He's 40 years old. He is leading a team of all-stars. He is leading, again, potentially the greatest the greatest basketball team ever assembled at 40 years old. And he is the number one option, at least from what we've seen in that South Sudan game when it came down to the one possession, we need a basket, we go to LeBron James, which is really, really cool to see. I think that is really cool to see as a basketball fan. But what this means as they head into the Olympics, right? That's the bigger question. It doesn't matter if they lose this game. This game is just to build camaraderie, to build that relationship, to build the team chemistry so you can be more successful in the playoffs. For a team like the US that doesn't ever play together, this is a moment for them to figure out how to play together, how to do their lineups, how to do their rotations with 10, 12 guys that should be that are the number one option on any other team, right? 12 guys, some of them just aren't going to get the minutes they deserve. It's tough to do, and it's a hard job to do a 12-man rotation, right? It really is. You have to get these guys in because of how good they are, but you need to, play winning basketball at the same time. So they're still figuring out. There's the growing pains. But the Olympics are around the corner. They can't continue to play like this. The U.S. is this white whale. They are the prize that everyone is coming for, right? They need to be prepared to get the best of everybody. Everyone is circling this game on their calendar, and the U.S. can't look past anyone because there's going to be nights like this one against South Sudan where they shoot the lights out. And, if this was against, say, France, right? France, Canada, one of these top contenders outside of the U.S., right? And South Sudan, if we're being honest, is probably not going to make it deep into the Olympics this season, right? And it's a great story that they almost beat the U.S. here, but they're probably not going to make it deep into these Olympics, if we're being honest, right? But imagine if instead of South Sudan, you're down 14 at half to France. You're down 14 at half to Canada. You're down 14 at half to Germany. You're down 14 at half to Spain. What are you going to do then? Are they going to be able to turn it on and make that comeback like they did against South Sudan? This is not a position that they need to be in. This has to be motivation for them to come out and give their best every night, because this is a team that if they lose, it will be humiliating. It really will. This is a team that has no excuse to not bring home the gold. They brought the super team together. They built the Avengers of basketball, right? They cannot lose. If they lose, it will be embarrassing for the entire country, for the entirety of U.S. basketball, and it's not going to be easy. This is going to be the toughest gold medal to win for USA basketball, maybe ever. We talk about these stacked teams. Serbia, with Serbia, they played us tough. We're going to play them. They're in our group at the beginning of the Olympics. But these are single elimination games, right? These are single elimination games that are going to happen in the quarterfinals. These are single elimination games that are going to happen in the semifinals. These are single elimination games, and the U.S. needs to show up because, like we've seen, one hot shooting night from a team like South Sudan can almost sink them, and the players don't sound worried. And if I'm the players on that team, I'm not, because this is the best team out there. Undoubtedly, there is no argument that there is a team currently on Earth that is better than this basketball team. Just, there isn't. You can say that there's teams that could make it tough, but this is the best team. Hands down, straight up, best team, period. That doesn't mean they're invincible. That doesn't mean that they can't lose. You know, there's a reason only one team in the history of sports has gone undefeated, right? The best team loses sometimes, right? This is why the best record ever in the NBA didn't end up raising the championship. You know, it's not the only reason why. There's a lot of factors, LeBron James being a big one of those. But, you know, this is a team that isn't guaranteed a medal, and they need to get in that mindset. They really do. They need to get into the mindset that this medal is not guaranteed for them, no matter how stacked of a roster they have. It is going to be really, really tough to win this gold medal because the rest of the world is catching up. It's only going to continue to get harder. So I'm excited to see if they're able to bounce back after 2 straight tough games. Again, they beat Germany today by 3 points. They beat South Sudan by 1. They were losing heading into the fourth quarter today. This is not how you need to play if you're US basketball. Let me know what you think. Is the US a lock for gold? I'm a little concerned right now. I really am, because I don't feel like Steve Kerr knows what he's doing with these rotations, and he's running out of time. I don't think that the US is really trying their hardest, which they need to start doing. They need to start playing like a team instead of just doing a bunch of iso ball. But anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're going to move into the world of baseball after this. That's right. The All-Star break has come and gone. We are going to spend the next 2 segments doing final predictions. We did predictions at the beginning. We're going to do predictions here at the halfway point, see what's changed, do a little look around the MLB as we prepare for the second half of the season and the race to October starts to heat up. So stick around for that. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.